Namaste. Today's topic is the divine quality of patience and forbearance. Before we dive into the topic, let us start with our prayer. Prayer. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Draupadi from Mahabharata can be considered as one of the examples of patience. Draupadi stood for patience and forbearance. Let's see how.
Draupadi, the queen of the Pandavas, was a symbol of patience and perseverance. Her greatest test came in the royal court of Hastinapura, where she faced humiliation but stood firm in her faith and strength. After Yudhishthira lost everything in the game of dice, Draupadi was dragged into the court by Dushasana. Surrounded by enemies, mocked and insulted, she remained steady. Though she was powerless in that moment, she did not lose hope. Instead of reacting with anger, she turned inward, toward patience, toward perseverance. With unwavering faith, she raised her hands in prayer and called upon Krishna. She did not give up, even when it seemed there was no escape. And in that moment, as Dushasana tried to dishonor her, a miracle happened. No matter how much he pulled at her sari, it continued endlessly, protecting her like a divine shield. But Draupadi's perseverance did not end there. She carried the pain of that injustice, not with bitterness, but with purpose. She waited years for the right moment, not with impatience, but with determination. She reminded the Pandavas of their duty, encouraged them to rise, and never let them forget their purpose. When the Kurukshetra war finally came, she stood tall. She did not seek revenge in anger, but she did not give up on justice. Through patience, she endured. Through perseverance, she triumphed. Draupadi's story teaches us that true strength is not just in fighting back. It is in standing firm, believing in what is right, and never giving up. Even in the darkest moments, patience and perseverance will always lead to victory.
All right. Now let's look at the other incidents. So we have already discussed in the video that what happened to Draupadi in the dice hall. She was humiliated, she was dragged into the court. But during that time, even, she calmly questioned and she asked, was I rightfully lost? So it means patience or forbearance and dharma, they go hand in hand. And I'm going to explain to you this in details in a bit. Also, during exile for 13 years, she lived in hardship after a royal life, but there was no bitterness, and she supported the Pandavas throughout. She practiced forbearance and focused and dharma. She endured suffering and she never complained. She was waiting for justice. She vowed justice, but that was never blind revenge. She chose the timing right, but she did not react. She always stood for righteousness. It was never ego. Hence, titiksha or forbearance is not weakness, it is strength with dignity. And Draupadi turned pain into moral power with faith and courage. There's a subtle difference between patience and forbearance, and I thought it's important for us to understand that as well. Now, let's look at the definition first. Patience is the ability to wait or endure calmly, whereas forbearance is connected to enduring hardship, insult, provocation, and what stands out over here is self control. When used, so the usage when we are dealing with delay, discomfort, waiting, it is patience. But when it's to do with injustice, injury, attack without retaliation, is forbearance. Patience is more short term frustration, whereas forbearance is long term, it's moral strength. An example phrase for patience would be patient, your turn will come. Whereas for forbearance is going to be, she showed great forbearance in the face of insult. It is not to react, but to respond. We're never asking not to respond. This is important to observe. We're asking not to react. Patience is connected to tolerance, calm, whereas forbearance is moral and emotional self mastery. Patience can be also called dhriti, although dhriti means perseverance, but they are very connected, and shama, whereas forbearance is titiksha. Now, let us look at shloka from chapter 2, verse 14, that talks about titiksha. Matra sparshastu kaunteya शीत उष्ण सुख दुःखदाः आगमा पायिनो नित्याः तन्तितिक्षस्व भारत. So tantitiक्षस्व भारत. So here Shri Krishna tells Arjun that we should be equal minded, be it sadness or in happiness. We should never react, be it cold or heat, pleasure on pain. So we can see Sri Krishna giving the opposite words to express the idea. So long as man has the body, when he says man, he mentions human being. It can be both male or female. So as long as man has the body, they come. Pain and pleasure, they come and they go. Cold and hot, cold and heat, they come and go. No one can stop them. So the Lord gives the sattvic law of titiksha. Titiksha is forbearance. And Sri Krishna is asking us to endure them. This is one of the key of success. If you want to be successful anywhere, at work, at home, with yourself, when I say with yourself, I mean to say that if you want, free yourself from negative thoughts, patience, forbearance is important. Because it's important to again see there are differences. When we talk about tolerance, it might lead to pain inside. But when it is forbearance, it is connected to dharma. What develops is self control. So when we have that, what happens? But before that, how is it possible? In order to make this happen, it's very important that we are able to differentiate between permanent and impermanent and understand what is actually eternal, what is not. Then be steadfast and remain unmoved through life's fluctuations, like we just discussed. And to go beyond temporary joy and sorrow. If you can do that, we will be the master of the mind and captain of the soul. All the leaders, rather, all the successful leaders, they have practiced patience and forbearance. We know Mahatma Gandhi Satyagraha movement, Nelson Mandela's imprisonment, and be it Mother Teresa's daily service. They've always practiced forbearance to be successful. Not just them, if you look at the contemporary leaders also, what we will see again and again is forbearance. Now, where can patience or forbearance be applied? Everywhere. Family relationship, school challenges, community service, personal growth. In all these areas, we need to apply forbearance. You might be thinking, but I don't have so much of patience. That who I am. Research says that patience can be developed. Even Sri Krishna told the same thing. Abhyas is practice. If we practice, patience can be developed. But in order to develop that quality, forbearance or patience, we have to be patient. Now let's look at in daily life and in different context. At school, not getting angry when somebody teases you, definitely for students, not crying or complaining when something breaks, like your toy or your favorite thing, right? Trying again if you don't win competition. And I think this goes for everybody, be it school, children, teenager, adults, everybody. For teenagers, I know you all might face students mocking and peer pressure, social pressure. What do you do then? It's important to be calm and show forbearance, right? So stay calm, smile. Just remind yourself that I am not taking it personally. Those words are not so powerful that it will make me do anything because I control myself, not their words. It's important that we tell ourselves. It's important. This little self talk is very important. And later on, the doubt can be clarified. Parents might take away some of our rights, like usage of phone and screen time, things like that. Well, you can yell, you can sulk, you can stop talking, but that will not help you to improve your relationship with your parent, A, and B, that is not long term solution. Yes, you can blackmail them. They love you. They are emotional. You can. But not only it's not good for you, that might sound very preachy, but that's not long term. What is long term is to be able to sit together and discuss, talk, find out a way where also you can enjoy the ride. So, for that, being patient is supremely important. Sometimes studying for long hours for exams, tests, competitive exam, entrance exams can be very boring. That time to tell yourself to be patient and tell them that even this shall pass, it's just temporary. And if I can be patient now and focus on what I'm doing at the moment, then it will take me to places. To remind ourselves about that is very important. When it comes to sports, if you are benched ever, don't be sad. Instead, you cheer your team and keep practicing. And trust that your turn will also come. For professionals, also, you have tight deadline, working long hours. Don't panic, don't blame, don't stress yourself. Just stay steady, just plan your time and keep calm. And like I said, it won't come naturally. It won't. We have to practice that. Like any skill, we have to practice that. Boss might give us harsh feedback. Anybody might give us harsh feedback. How do we respond to that? Forbearance, patience. Long traffic, delay. You have to do follow ups. People are not working the way you'd like them to work. Forbearance, patience. Work life imbalance, patience. Reflect, plan, execute, patience. Be as humble as grass, but when needed, you need to roar like a lion. Patience doesn't mean that people can take your advantage. There's a difference. Now, we should know when to be silent and when not. We should not remain silent, and when should we be silent and be patient? When injustice is done, like bullying, discrimination at workplace, abuse, violence, we should not be quiet. We should not say that we are being very patient. We have to take action and might have to take immediate action. When someone vulnerable is being harmed, like a classmate who can't protect himself or herself, a co worker who is not treated fairly, when rules or systems are unfair or harmful, there can be unfair rules, biased rules that can exploit people. There can be discriminatory social practices that discriminates. Then when somebody is violating your boundary, it is not okay. You have to say no. If somebody is disrespecting you, It is not okay. That's not your fault. You might have done something wrong in the past, but don't think that that means they have the right to insult you. No, they don't. If you see people crossing their limit or manipulating you, you have to say no. And it's very important. It's very important, dear parents, that we teach our children how to say no. And if I say no, that doesn't make me a bad human being. I don't have to agree all the time. I don't have to please anybody. What is important that I only stand by dharma. That's it. Nothing else is important. So questions to ask yourself might be, is my silence helping or harming? Is this situation hurting someone innocent? Will patience allow growth or allow abuse? Am I afraid to speak or is silence truly wise? Can I act with compassion but firmness? These are the questions we need to reflect on. Golden balance would be patience in ego related matters like insults, delay in something, discomfort, whereas we have to protest when dharma related matters, when we see injustice, exploitation, abuse. So it's important to cultivate patience. And how do we do that? It The first step would be to understand your trigger. We need to know our switches really well, and we really do need to know the trigger. Once we know, once we know that that is coming, once I am talking to someone, I am reaching that moment, what we can do, you can take a deep breath in and tell yourself, I am very patient. I respond. And you have to be your own guru that time, own teacher. Because ultimately, the goal in life is to look for the knowledge that is already within. So we need to awaken the guru, the teacher that is inside all of us. You can take advice from elder and ask them about their journey. Reflection really helps. It can be written, it can be recorded, audio reflection. I have shared one link and it has questions related to patience and forbearance. So you might want to answer that. And also, there are interview questions that children can use to interview their parents. That's it for today. And I pray to God that this week and your entire life, you will be able to show forbearance and you will be able to make smart choices. Prayer. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. If you have any questions, I would like you to share that with me. I'll try my best to answer that. And if you post questions in the comment box, that might make some other listeners or viewers think about that area. So your question really matters. Namaste. Have a great week ahead.